and welcome back to a brand new series of Anchored Together, brought to you by Marix Media and Mindspeak. Hi, I'm Dr. Dipti. Welcome to Anchored Together, a YouTube series that casts an exhilarating spotlight on the vibrant lives of shipping industry professionals and their families. Excitement and entertainment is what you're going to get here in abundance. Allow me to introduce to you our two special guests today, the new talk of the town, the new BFFs, Chaitaly and Kuljit. Thank you so much, both of you, for being here today for this episode.
Thank you, Dipti. Thank you. And Chaitaly. Yay.
Thank you, Dr. Kamal, and Captain Kamal, and thank you, Dipti, for this. It's quite exciting and it's new for me too.
I'm super excited, and we are going to dwell into your personal lives, and it's going to be a fun episode, I'm sure.
Looking forward to.
Let's start off today's episode by letting everyone know what are you all up to. So, Kuljit, starting with you. Tell us about your work and your role in the industry today.
Okay, I am belonging to the shipping industry, ocean industry, to be more aptly saying about it. Ocean, as you know, is very deep, very vast. I have been privileged to be on the shore and manage various frontiers of the ocean shipping, sitting at the shore, from executive to fraud forwarding, shipping lines to freight forwardings, to today an agency house that I am a part of. So it's been a beautiful journey so far, and I think there is much more to do than what I've already done.
Chaitaly, what about you?
So I call myself an accidental entrepreneur because this is not supposed to be my life. But I think after spending close to 27 years, it is time that I accept that this is what my life is, and I'm going to die as a logistician. But yes, I'm a third generation customs broker from my grandfather's time. I'm a second generation freight forwarder because of my dad. And I belong to this beautiful industry, which is the logistics industry. I'm extremely proud to be here. I take care of everything. So depending on any day, I am anywhere. My designation would go from a gopher to a peon to probably the top management. So it depends on which day what problem is happening. But overall, yes, I'm quite. It's a very, very interesting thing, and I have been here long enough now and pretty much take care of the entire gamut of services under the logistics industry for customs broker as well as freight forwarding. Thank you.
Lovely. So tell me, Kuljit, we all know the maritime industry has been pretty male dominated. Any challenges you faced as a woman in this industry?
Dipti, I have joined this industry way back in '97 as a customer service personnel, and I wouldn't be saying I've been lucky, because the person who mentored me into the shipping nuances and the shipping guidelines, everything that I know of shipping, my foundation was laid by the other gender. So I consider myself lucky. Yes, I did have challenges when I moved into the sales for fraternity, because in those days there were very few ladies who used to move out into the sales part, and the customers were so used to certain full stops and commas which they couldn't use in front of me. But of course, we had to find our way around. That's all about getting your way around, and things worked out. I think I've been fairly successful as a sales professional as well. Yeah, we see a lot of. So when we are down there and when you move up the ladder, it becomes more and more male dominated. And but I wouldn't consider that there would be something, because a person sitting in that comfort zone will take to threat whether it's a male or a female coming up in his or her comfort zone. So otherwise, I plain think I'm lucky enough, and might be you have to have an orientation which believes that you're not the weaker sex.
Absolutely. Chaitaly, what about you?
Okay, so I'm not going to say that it has been a rosy road or it's been all flowers and rainbows and all. In fact, I probably have been the most upset over the weekend because of an incident that happened purely because I'm a woman. And it took me back to the initial days. I will say that I have been blessed because of my lineage to have access to some of the best thinking minds, to have the acceptance of the industry, and I'm never going to deny that. And I've always said that they have treated me like a child, and they still do consider me as a child. However, having said that, I think the problem happened is from when you are not from the freight forwarding or the customs broker side, when you are either a vendor or you are a partner, or you could be a stakeholder, or it could even be a client. So for me, there were problems because there was a client who refused to talk to me for the simple reason is that I was a woman. There was another client whom I actually went on record, and he was a 60-year-old gentleman at that point of time, and I was probably 27 or 28 years old. And I still remember writing a long email to him and calling him a male chauvinist pig, an MCP, courtesy the books that I have. And I told my client, based in Africa, that if I had to handle the business, either they found another vendor, supplier, or the gentleman apologized to me. It took him 5 months, but he did apologize to me again. Um, I'm going to say that it is not people per se, but like Kuljit says, I will agree that there is always a certain threat level. It comes at any level. It could be at the lowest levels or it could be at the highest levels. What is important is that when somebody feels that you are doing a job that you are better at as compared to what they have been, the comparisons start. It also doesn't help when you start getting more popular. It You don't have to be anybody with a surname to get popular. Your work speaks for yourself in this industry, and that is what takes you forward, right? And then what happens is that there are certain biases which are created about you. There is a certain persona, and let's be honest, this is one industry where we all like to talk, and sometimes you just become larger than life, or you are made like that because they need to get an easy target. Besides that, I think it's also the upbringing of the people that you're dealing with, and the regions that you work with. I have worked pan India and abroad, and I know that there's certain problems that I face in certain cities or in certain regions. I'm not going to face that anywhere else. But I should also say that I'm not going to go into the detail of what happened over the weekend, but I will tell you that this boy was only 27 years old. I'm told his age is between 27 to 30. And he chose to make a judgment about me and my knowledge of operations. And I think I have worked very, very hard to get where I am, and not because of whose granddaughter or niece or daughter I am. And he chose to completely insult me, disrespect me by ignoring my calls, choosing to ignore my requests, and all of this is real time, like as much as 72 hours ago, all because I said, I don't understand this one part of it. Let me check and come back because we were handling a very complex shipment. When I asked him and he told me, you need to be ethically professional, I said, you are teaching me ethics and professionalism because I stand for ethics and professionalism. Sorry if I sound, I'm being very blunt. He says, you don't, I said, what is your, where do you come from and what is your background? He says, why do I need to know about ethics and professional? Because my father is so and so. I'm like, your father is so and so. What are your credentials?
True, true.
So I think there are still women who face this. And if you ask me till 72 hours ago, I would say that it has stopped and it will only happen in certain pockets. But this guy has access to some of the best that money can give. And this is what the problem is the upbringing, the attitude, and the general awareness or the lack or the perception that if I know for a fact that, and there could be naysayers saying, oh, it doesn't happen and things like that, and it's happened on other forums when I've said this, is that if I was a man who said, let me check on this and come back, which is a very standard thing because none of us, are born with this knowledge. We all learn in this trade over here. This would not have happened.
I agree to a certain extent,
And
yes.
because it was there, it was absolutely fierce. I just completely lost it. And I said, you know what, I'm stopping your shipment. So yeah, I mean, it still happens.
Yeah.
So to add on this, I will also, I just remembered an incident which happened with me. So I was in a shipping line, and I was promoted to the ranks of manager for sales. I had a team of 5 young men reporting to me. And this one man got a job after a year or so in Muscat. I was taking his exit interview, and he tells me, "Ma'am, can I pass a candid remark?" So I said, "Yes, please tell me. What is it?" He's telling, when I was offered this job, I was almost backing off because I was told I have to report to a lady. So he's telling, but today when I'm leaving, I'm going to tell people that what an amazing lady you were, because the rationality, the unbiased approach that you exhibited is going to go with me where I'm going and have a lot of learning to carry with me. So this was what his remark was, which I remember. And once on LinkedIn, he came and said that, "Ma'am, I wish I get a boss like you again." So that's
Sorry, I have to add on to
Yes.
this. I have been accused of holding on to work, which is completely unfair because I pretty much give out the work and all. And they say, oh, but you don't have a second in command. And I tell them, find me a second in command who can respect me for my job and not for my sex, whether I'm a man or a woman. We actually took on people at senior positions, fancy salaries and all. They lasted precisely 3 months or 6 months because at the base of it, when we took their interviews, one of them was, I have been chatting with him for a year, so he knew he had to report to me. He comes from an MNC background, working abroad, where you have a lot more women at different posts, especially unlike India, where you have, and he's worked in projects and things like that. After 3 months, when we were butting heads so much, I said, "You have a problem, right?" And he says, "Yes." I said, "You can't tell me that you have a problem reporting to me." And he says, "Yes, I can't report to you." I said, "Okay, that's the door." And you leave. So even in today's times, and these are not uneducated people, these are
Yes.
MBA degrees, where the men feel that they are not in a position to respect a woman of power, and most of them, and because when you are here for this long, you land up meeting a lot of people. It's just not the staff, as in it's not just the new people that you take on, but it's also when you're moving around and you meet people at parties and events and things like that. Some of them have just this condescending look on their face, or that smirk, which when they ask your designation. So the longest time I didn't have a designation in my company. It was because my Harish Bhai doesn't believe in designations, and he's like, he'll do it. But when I did mention that, okay, fine, so and so, they said, "Acha, so it's because of your father." And I said, "No, he opened the doors for me, but everything else is me, with all due respect to everything else." They said, "Really, but do you think you'll be a good boss?" I said, "Come and ask my staff if I'm a good boss."
Yeah, and it's so funny, on the humorous side, when you ask married men, they always say, "Oh, the boss is the lady at home, huh?"
actually,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
such a thing to say, but and when it comes to work, it's completely the
Double
other way
standards.
around. Double
Double
standards, I may
standards.
say.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Come on, tell me now 3 words, Kuljit, which describes yourself. Just 3 words.
Okay. I consider myself as a hard worker, a lifelong student, and might be multitasking.
What about?
That
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my professional side. And my personal side, I'm emotional, but I mix it up with my wittiness, which you might endorse sometimes.
Yes, of course. Yes, Chaitali. What about you? 3 words which describes Chaitali.
Survivor,
Okay.
not a quitter, and extremely strong.
Yes, and I second that absolutely. So, Chaitali, you've been given a tag of a helicopter lady. I had
Yes.
read it up in your bio.
Yes.
Tell us something about that.
So the tag, the moniker for helicopter lady came up about 4 years ago during COVID. I was part of this truly fab network called BOC, Business Opportunities Network. And I just joined them during COVID, just a little over COVID. And Agnello Rajeshji, who's the mentor and one of the founders, was trying to pep us up and would do these daily Facebook lives and YouTubes and things like that. And the idea was to remind ourselves what we are good at. Every aviation is one of the verticals that we handle. What makes us different is that you don't have women handling an aviation vertical in India. Also in aviation, we handle helicopters. Now there will be a lot of agents who will say, "Acha, मैं भी तो helicopter handle करता हूँ," but they do it in piecemeals. Nobody works on the entire thing for it. And the reason why I was called the helicopter lady is because there's nobody who does what I do. and I have been trained for this. And today we may handle one helicopter, or we could handle 5 helicopters. But in the helicopter industry, if they ask, or if there is a recall value, the recall value comes is because it's very rare. It's never ever that you see somebody on the tarmac who does not belong onto the tarmac, or in the hangar who's not an engineer or who's not an aviational professional and all. So that's how Agnello Rajesh ji gave me the moniker that since you are handling helicopters and you're the only one who's doing the, because we do the entire thing short of dismantling the helicopter, we pretty much do everything which is there. So that's how the tag of helicopter lady came.
So that's how we know now why she's called as the helicopter lady. Now, let's come to some fun part. How did you all first meet each other?
So it was supposed to be a secret. We actually met through one of the networks where there was an outside event. We were supposed to, there was a field trip to NDA, which was at that time all of us were strangers. And that's where we met first. And we all share a common love of food. So there was somebody else who then created a group where we were supposed to be. It was supposed to be secret for the longest time. But yes, that's where we actually first met. But I think going forward, probably it was purely because of the association.
I'll take it. So we met and we knew each other, like we saw each other, we saw it and nothing. And then we formed a group which is for our love of food.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's nothing
Yes.
related to shipping.
Yeah.
But when I grew closer to Chaitaly, or I developed an admiration for her, was during COVID times. So it was COVID. I met with an accident. I was bedridden, and I was at home, feeling very sulky and bored. And then comes my birthday, and she comes. She called me, "Hey, come down." I can't come up because nobody can come up. You come down. And I said, "Why? What's happening?" She had nicely baked a cake. I have the picture of the cake even now. But then she stopped baking after that. I don't know for what reason. So she bought. So that's how I developed an admiration for her, for somebody who went the extra mile for her friend. I mean, actually, that time we were not even friends, but then she cared. And in fact, I would have a serious problem had she not pushed me to go and see the doctor. If you're not getting out of the bed and going to the doctor, I'm coming and picking you up. And I said, no, don't come in my building. There are cases. Don't come. So that's what got us closer.
Lovely. Okay, you all also went on a trip together.
Yes, we did.
Adventure trip to Kutch. I did follow up on your pictures
Yes.
and they were brilliant. How
Yes.
did that happen?
So I head the women's wing for Triple FAI, and one of the things that we do is that we do a lot of road trips or field trips, and we take the women members to different ports, ICDs, and try and give them the practical experience and the knowledge. And this trip was actually meant for Mundra and for Kandla port, but the ladies were like, let's combine it with Run of Kutch, and that's how we did a 7-day trip, where we did Mundra, Kandla, we did the Ashapura mines, the Vande Mataram museum, and yes, of course, Dholavira and the Run of Kutch. So we had 14 of us. There were 14 of us. We had a 13-year-old teenager, a budding. She's a tennis player. She's a country ranker. So she represents India, extremely proud. And hopefully she's going to be a logistician sometime soon because she thinks she can do both, which is fabulous, and we look forward to that. And yes, so it was a very exciting trip, lots of different things. It took me 6 months to plan it, 4
Wow.
months actively working on it. It was hard, but I think it was probably one of the best trips that
Best
we've
trips.
had.
Yeah.
Girl
She-
trip, all girl
All
trip.
girl trip.
All women, different ages.
So you saw one of our pictures. We've done some trips together also otherwise. And just for the fun of food and travel that we both have a liking of. And I should say that this trip was very well organized by Triple Fi, and Chaitaly had also put in so much efforts. And she was like a doting mother over there, taking care of all our requirements. And we like feeling like at home. Okay. Like we tell Chaitaly and it's getting done. And like we're very like pampered kind of a trip. So thanks
Thank you,
Chaitaly
Kuljit.
once again.
Thank you.
Can you have more of these?
Yes, we will do them in a gap. It's too stressful.
Too stressful.
But no, it was genuinely very nice. We had women from all over India. Some of them who had flown almost about maybe I don't know in terms of this thing in terms of distance. Pardon me, but in terms of hours, some of them had two flights to change. Some of them came in by train, and it was not going to be an easy trip. And we had different late. So we had somebody from 13-year-old going up to 60-year-old. We had to take care of all of that. And at Triple FIR, we want to do it. So our Kandla and Mundra Association, the Ashapura Foundation, they've all done a phenomenal job. So fine, it was my brainchild, but it was entirely teamwork, and I think it was a fantastic thing. We've pretty much tick marked everything that I have on my bucket list, except for maybe one or two things. So yeah,
Well,
hopefully yes.
that's lovely. And of course, I know now the one thing which binds you all together is good food
Yeah.
because they have a special WhatsApp group and they talk about food and they eat food. Oh my God, that's lovely.
You'll see all pictures of all the food that we've been eating.
Oh,
We
wow,
call
it's-
ourselves the hogs. And
Okay.
yes, and we actually take trips to try different cuisines.
Cuisines.
And I have to say that the ladies there are 6 of us there, and the 5 of them are genuinely, I have to show my appreciation because they pretty much trust everything that I recommend or suggest, and it becomes, and then everybody enjoys together.
So now we
it's
know
very
whom
nice.
to go
Yes.
to if we want to try some new cuisine and
Absolutely.
something. Now we are going to, just text you and ask us. Okay, well. Right, moving on to the last segment, the rapid fire round, and it has to be quick. Okay,
Okay.
so let's start with Kuljit. We'll start with you. One quality which you would like to have from Chaitaly.
Okay, her eye for detail, especially in food.
I don't know if that's a quality to have. It's my family. I just come from a family of foodies. But thank you on behalf of both my families, my mom and dad.
And one quality you would like to have
Her
from Kuljit.
knowledge in ocean is brilliant.
Okay.
When I see people talk to her and, in front of her, behind her and all, her knowledge is phenomenal. And I've pretty much learned on the job. So I haven't had that kind of professional. So it's like you get put into the fire and you learn. So I would like to have Kuljit's knowledge.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Any person whom you idealize from the industry? One person, not your boss, anybody else.
Actually, it would be unfair because at every point of my career, I have somebody or the other mentoring me. So it would be unfair putting it down in one name.
Okay.
I would say a big thanks to everybody who has brought me where I am today, sitting and discussing in front of you.
Okay. Chaitali, what about you? Any person you idealize?
No.
No?
No.
All
No
right.
idealization.
No idealization.
Respect, loads of them. Idealization, no.
No? All right. So, one thing you would like to change about yourself, Kuljit?
On a lighter note, my weight.
Okay, yeah, I think we all,
So,
Awesome.
so in a little in depth might be to learn to go for the right instead of the junk.
all right.
It's interesting. If I have to do a lighter note, I think start taking more holidays. I don't take enough holidays, so
Okay.
yes. And on a serious note, learn not to take my work so seriously, to let it affect me the ways that it does. But yes, that is what.
All right. Now, this is the last fun segment, okay? So, I'm going to call out one quality, and you have to name one person who comes to your mind
Yes.
when I call out that. All right? Okay, Chaitali, this time we start with you. Strong headed.
Strong-headed, I would say me, and
Okay.
after me, it has to be my niece Adya.
Okay. Kuljit.
Okay, I will give it to my mother. I'll give it to my mother,
Okay.
who has been actually whatever I am today is because of her.
Okay.
And the other person is Mrs. H.K. Joshi. I
Ah.
need to give it to her.
All right. Honest.
Oh, hands down, my mother.
Okay.
Every time people say, "You're just so goddamn honest," I said, blame my mother. She punished me for not giving her some information. So I said, everything which is to do with honesty is my mother.
Mother.
Yes.
Kuljit.
Honesty, my father, and from whom I take those genes.
All right. Creative.
Has to be undoubtedly my sister-in-law Divya Bhabhi and my school friend Nehal. They are probably the two most creative people that I know of.
All right. Kuljit.
Captain Kamal Chadda and Dipti Mankar, because they thought of an out-of-box kind of an arrangement by calling me here. Don't edit it, please.
All right. A visionary.
A visionary. Actually, loads of them, but I would say my grandfather, my Shri Hargovindas Jamnadas Mehta, late. my dad actually, Harish Bhai Mehta. Both of them have been visionaries, but besides that, I also have to say my uncle, Shri late Naval Mehta. And from the industry, I would say it has to be. I don't know if the foresight to see and all. I think just the people who started their companies from scratch down, and today they are 500 crores, 1,000 crores, and all of them have built their empires. And these are all senior people in the industry. Some of them who are alive now, some of them who have unfortunately passed away. Some of them have, all of them have worked in companies, typewriting, typing bills and BLs and all. And from there, they have come here. So I think it is all of them. So from them, my favorites were Meenu uncle and Prabha uncle.
All right. And what about you, Kuljit?
So I had the privilege of meeting my chairman, Jain Bakshi, Mr. Krishna Kotak, and I think his ideas, which he was talking, was something very out of the box, which I really liked. And otherwise, I ardently follow Mr. Ratan Tata, Sir Ratan Tata.
Okay, and now a very interesting one. Any hidden talent which none of us know that you have?
I think it should rather be hidden. There's no need for
Okay, you can tell us. It'll be nice to know you, right? It's all about knowing each other. Any hidden
You know-
talent you have?
Actually, I don't think it's talent because if you ask my family, they'll say I'm quite, except for work and probably for food and all, I'm quite talentless. I think it's got to do with the personality rather than anything else. People think that I'm very aggressive or I only think about work and there's nothing else to me besides work. But I do have a hidden quality and all. I love my books and I'm a hardcore romantic. And
Really?
and by romance, I do not mean Mills and Boons. There's lots more to romance than Mills and Boons, which is there. But yes, so I am a hardcore romantic, and
Wow.
and I only read books which are related to romance. I can't do the other books.
Books.
Yes.
Kuljit, what about you? Any hidden talent you have which we don't know?
I've been thinking about what hidden talent while she was talking that I can talk about. If you want, I can cook, which nobody will buy. And I'm a fairly good cook. But the other part that, on a serious note, is I love observing people. And most of the time, by observing people, I understand more of them than their verbal language. And it's like 80% accurate.
Wow. Okay, so we all need to be careful when Kuljit is looking around and is observing
Our
people
body language needs to be up to the
up
point.
to the point. All right. And finally, what advice would you like to give to all the women and young girls and ladies who want to be a part of this industry?
So my advice to the younger women would be that there's a conflict between career and biological developments. The career graph is normally working during the time of childbearing and childbirth and child development. But today there is a lot of techniques and there are a lot of availability where you can balance between the two and ensure that you don't get stuck up into these requirements. The other thing is even this, you have to work around a spouse who is going to support you in all these kind of activities. I would also like to say that there's something which I have actually referred to said by Miss Indra Nui, that once she was attending a PTA, she couldn't attend the PTA meeting of her children, and the children took serious offense on it. That why is it that the other parents are there and you were not there, and I don't like it. And she gave a reply. She felt a little hurt and disturbed. But then she went back and told them that there were another set of parents who didn't come. So what would you like to see me as? And today they are very proud of her for her achievements and they are also her support factor. So the other thing which young women should also practice is that you have to be a constant learner, risk averse, and you have to develop towards moving on in the right direction. There's nothing like remaining stagnant and you can't do and you get stuck up. In fact, when I talk to people in my own team who are there are women who say, oh no, we got these things. You can always work around. There is a solution for everything. Move up the ladder, take the challenge, face the conflicts, and just do it, because we are empowered with reasoning. We are empowered with multitasking. We are empowered with our knowledge, which perhaps can give any man a run for his money. Thanks.
Thanks. Thank you, Kuljit. And yes, Chaitaly, last piece of advice.
Ladies, getting into any stream of logistics, maritime, and transport is not child's work. You have to work very, very hard, and this is not an industry where you think you can go home by 6 o'clock in the evening. It doesn't matter whether you are married or you're not married. The fact is that if you don't work hard, if you don't multitask, and if you don't pick up anything from this industry in the first month that you are at your job, and all of us start at ground level, Kuljit and I have started at ground level. Please give yourself 6 months time to understand whether you like this industry or not, whether you understand the pulse of this industry. More importantly, does it make your blood sink when you get up in the morning? If not, then this is not the industry for you. Sounds harsh, but it is a reality. This industry does not necessarily need MBAs or degree holders. This industry needs somebody with passion, with integrity, with loyalty, and more importantly, with an attitude which says, we don't quit. Now, it doesn't have to be for women, it's equally for men.
Thank you so much, Chaitaly. Thank you so much, Kuljit. It has been a wonderful conversation. And on behalf of Marex Media and Mindspeak, we would like to present you a small token to take back. And of course, the designer Anchor Together mugs for both of you. And to all of you who are watching us, thank you so much for gluing on to the YouTube channel. And until we meet next time, next week, goodbye and take care. Cheers.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a lovely week ahead.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you. Bye.
You are regularly in contact with the cargo department. You interact with the people who book cargo, and then you have a meeting with them every loading, Calcutta, Bombay. They explain to you the difficulty in getting cargo. So to ensure that the cargo is carried safely and delivered safely at destination. Because after all, your income, it is drilled into you.
Yes.
Your income is coming out of the freight received from carrying cargo, and the freight is given by exporters to be handed over to importers. Whether you are on that side or this side, you have to take care of that commodity. It is drilled into you.